Once upon a time, there was a very wealthy landlord who lived in a large old mansion. His house was filled with sacks of grain, expensive belongings, and thick, sturdy walls that made it look like a fortress from the outside. But inside, a silent disaster was slowly eating away at everything. Rats were everywhere. They tore through bags of rice, chewed up clothes, and raced across the floor every night as if they were the true owners of the house. The landlord was both furious and humiliated, feeling like a powerless king in his own palace. Unable to endure being mocked by the rats night after night, the landlord decided to put an end to it once and for all. The next morning, he went to the main market and bought a rare white cat. It was no ordinary cat. It was so beautiful that anyone who saw it had to stop and stare. Its fur was white as snow, and it moved with a slow, graceful pride, as though royal blood ran through its veins. The landlord paid a very high price for it, but he was deeply satisfied, convinced that he had finally found the savior of his home. And indeed, within just 2 short days, the sound of rats disappeared completely. The whole house fell into such peace and quiet that for the first time in months, he slept soundly. But after only a few peaceful days, a cold thought began to form in the landlord's mind. He no longer looked at the white cat as a savior, but as a creature that did nothing except sleep, eat its fill, and curl up in a corner of the house. He forgot that it had saved his entire grain store. He forgot the sleepless nights caused by the rats destroying everything. In his eyes now, only one thing remained. The cat was still costing him grain and food, yet it seemed to be doing nothing at all. Gratitude slowly turned into selfish calculation. If you've ever seen how quickly people can change, comment 9 to get ready for the next shocking twist. Then one day, without a moment's hesitation, the landlord flung open the door and coldly threw the white cat out. He said only one cruel sentence. "Go. Your job is done." The cat quietly looked back at him once, its eyes holding both loyalty and hurt, then turned away and walked down the empty road. Inside the house, the landlord felt relieved again. He even felt proud of himself, convinced he had made the right decision. But he had no idea that from the very moment he drove away his most faithful guardian, the real disaster was only beginning. For the first few weeks, everything remained as peaceful as before, which only made the landlord more certain that he had been right to get rid of the white cat. He even smugly told himself that the cat had been nothing more than an overrated burden. But life always has a way of returning the truth at the exact moment people become most careless. After just 1 month, the rats suddenly came back. It was no longer just a few scratching sounds in the dark corners, but whole swarms pouring in like a living nightmare, returning to life. They climbed onto cupboards, ripped open sacks of grain, and even gnawed at the thick wooden doors. At night, the pounding sound of their scurrying echoed through the house like a bitter mockery. The landlord stood frozen in shock. Only then did he understand that what he had driven away that day was not just a cat, but his own peace of mind. Terrified as his home was once again torn apart, the landlord rushed to the market one more time. This time, he brought back a black cat. It was not as stunning as the white cat, not rare, and not the kind of animal that made people stop and stare at first glance. But there was something strange about it. Sharp, cold eyes, alert, and calculating. The landlord looked at the cat and told himself that as long as it caught all the rats, everything would return to normal. What he did not know was that this new cat was not only smarter than he imagined, but was also about to set in motion a bitter twist. If this story is starting to make you think, comment 0. From the very first day, the landlord stood waiting with his usual sense of excitement. He believed that in just a few more days, the rats would once again disappear completely, just as they had before. But what happened instead began to surprise him. The black cat did not throw itself into wiping out the rats once and for all. Sometimes it caught only one and then stopped. Sometimes it chased a rat all the way into a corner. But just when it had the chance to finish it off, it deliberately let it escape. Even stranger, whenever it caught a rat, it did not kill it right away. Instead, it brought the rat before the landlord, as if performing its talent for an audience. The more the landlord watched, the more convinced he became. He did not realize that behind that clever appearance was a level of calculation even more frightening than the rats themselves. Unlike the white cat, who had only known loyalty and quietly fulfilled its duty, the black cat was quick to see the greatest weakness in human nature. People only keep what they still need. It understood clearly that if the rats ever disappeared completely, its fate would be no different from that of the white cat long ago. So it had no desire to solve the problem once and for all. It wanted to control the problem. It caught just enough, frightened just enough, making the rats afraid, but never truly gone. And from that moment on, in that house, it was no longer a hunt for rats, but a carefully calculated game of dependence.